Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about jump points, quantum travel, warp, and wormholes, and kind of the science behind all of that stuff as it relates to Star Citizen's lore. Now, a lot of players have been asking questions about the footage that you're seeing behind me. This footage was captured from 2019 CitizenCon, where CIG showed off kind of the carrot going through a jump point. Now, recently in 321, this area looks a little bit different. The gates have changed, and now they're kind of like holographic checkpoints that you fly through. And CIG has added a massive space station with refinery, cargo, shopping, hangars, medical facility, and it is kind of a slight difference from what some players have come to understand this area looking like. Again, CIG showed this footage in 2019 as gameplay. As you could see the characters here in the Carrack going through this jump point. So this was a build or a version of the game that we didn't have access to. This was an internal build of what they were planning to make jump points look like. Now, in lore, in Star Citizen's universe, jump points are actually naturally occurring phenomenon. They are naturally occurring wormholes. They're not created by the gate itself. So I think there's a lot of reason why CIG would decide to move away from using a man-made gate to initiate the jump into another star system. Now, this sequence here you're seeing when you're in the tunnel may still exist and be the primary traversal process to get to Pyro, but the gate might be a little bit different, and the actual jump point itself might be like a floating orb in space, some kind of mirrored like surface. We don't know right now because the jump point's not in the game, the location is. Now, the gas cloud looks the same as in this trailer, and there are some graphical issues with the gas cloud, but the design of it is the same, where how part of it is kind of blue and part of it is kind of orange, to kind of show that it is kind of a phenomenon between Stanton and Pyro's. Pyro's nebulas are more bluish, more greenish, that type of thing, and Pyro's nebulas and gas clouds and things look more like this. So there will most likely still be a lot of these structures around as you pass through and go into Pyro, but the gate system will be a little bit different. Now, of course, in the game, humans have built these structures to kind of try to make this process a little bit more reliable, a little bit safer. So again, I'm not saying that this stuff won't be present in the game, but it might look different. A good example here is actually Ruin Station. So as you can see right here in the distance, this is what in lore Ruin Station is supposed to look like. But as we know now, this has completely been redesigned because they wanted to have certain facilities, and also Ruin Station is not by the jump point. Ruin Station is in orbit around the gas giant in Pyro, so this is also the incorrect location for where Ruin Station would be in lore anyway. So this was just kind of like an artist's interpretation on a custom level of the game that CIG could essentially use to illustrate what that journey might look like. Of course, at the time, we believed that this was actual footage of what we would soon be experiencing, but in reality, it's not. It's just kind of like the motion capture team on ISC now. It's basically what this footage is. So now, what are naturally occurring wormholes? So there is kind of a scientific theory around this. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about quantum travel for a second, because I know a lot of people call it warp, and it's kind of interchangeable, but I want to talk about what's actually going on. So quantum travel is actually Alcubierre travel. Alcubierre is a physicist known to theorize the act of essentially warping space in front of you and stretching it behind you to travel faster than light. Now, essentially in Star Citizen, what's happening is basically the same thing. You are creating a bubble, and you are folding space in front of you and stretching it behind you. Now, the theory is that this bubble is an energy bubble and is full of negative energy. And what this negative energy does is it cancels out your positive energy. So, according to space-time, you have no mass. Okay? And the theory around that is that objects that have no mass or very little mass, the effects of space-time isn't as great on them. Now, I'm not a scientist, and this gets a little bit complex, but I do know that there are different experiments around this, where different scientists calculate deep space radiation, how long it takes for them to reach the ground, and early on they noticed that this radiation was reaching the ground a lot faster than they had anticipated according to the speed of light. And they realized that it was because these particles were shedding mass as they traveled through space, and this meant that by the time they hit the ground, they were going much faster than when they started, or when the scientists originally started recording their speeds. So once they took in the loss of mass into their calculation, they were able to get the correct speed that these particles were going at. And this was a major breakthrough into how we understand how mass works in space. So basically, the same thing kind of applies for gravity wells, and what people theorize is the possible answer for the way matter is in space. So essentially, to kind of round things off, your quantum drive is creating a negative energy field that lowers your mass. This allows you to fold space in front of you and stretch it behind you and go very fast. Now, the problem is that there's no way for human beings to possibly do this, because that would take an incredible amount of energy. So Star Citizen's answer to this problem is Quantanium. It is a magical resource that emits negative energy radiation. And when you enable your quantum drive, it creates this negative energy bubble, and you can travel very fast. Now, in Star Citizen, ships don't travel faster than the speed of light. They travel, I think, like roughly 0.2. They travel like 20% the speed of light, or something like that. I could be incorrect, but you guys can look it up. I'm sure there's lore about it, but you can tell because you can see planets and stars and things pass by you as you fly through the game. When you go into quantum drive, you'll see the planet slowly moving away from you as you travel to your destination. Now, With fast and light speed travel, you won't likely see this because the bubble you're creating will be more impenetrable to normal light. And this is a good time to kind of explain warp speed a little bit in relation to quantum travel. So, warp is depicted in shows like Star Trek as also being Alcubierre drives, where essentially you are folding space in front and stretching it behind you. But the difference is that with warp is the speed of light. So you might hear a Star Trek ship captain tell the pilot warp factor of 2 or warp factor of 5, and that essentially means twice the speed of light or 5 times the speed of light. It is FTL travel or faster than light travel. So there are also sub-factors which are which are slower than the speed of light. So you can think of warp as kind of like Mach speed, but for the speed of light. So whereas Mach speed is for the speed of sound, warp is for the speed of light. So you have Mach 5, Mach 2, and then you have Mach 0.2 as sub-Mach speeds, and warp is essentially the same thing, where you have sub-warp and warp factors after that. So warp is kind of a speed metric. Quantum travel is a type of space travel. So quantum travel is a type of Alcubierre space travel. Warp is a speed metric. So technically in Star Citizen, you are going at warp sub-factor 2, I believe. But this process of going warp sub-factor of 2 is called quantum travel. So how is this happening, and how does it kind of correlate to jump points? So basically, I'm sure you guys have all seen the science class experiment where the professor shows you a piece of paper that has 2 planets drawn on either end of the paper, and the paper represents space-time, and he draws a line between the 2 planets, and that line represents the distance between those 2 planets. Then he folds that paper in half, punches a hole in the middle. So the hole in the middle represents the wormhole, and the line represents the physical distance between the 2 planets. So by folding space, you don't have to travel the physical distance. So that's essentially what a jump point is. A jump point is a naturally occurring wormhole. And it's understood in the Star Citizen universe that there are naturally occurring wormholes all over space connecting different planets. And if you look at a picture of the universe, it is very uniform, and it doesn't look like it came from a central point like the Big Bang. The universe, if you look at the universe or a picture of our visible universe, it doesn't make sense according to quantum mechanics. According to quantum mechanics, the universe shouldn't look like the way it does. And kind of the explanation to why it looks like that is because there are naturally occurring wormholes all over the universe that when, quote, the Big Bang happened, it threw matter through these wormholes and they got deposited more uniformly. So you take the piece of paper example, you fold in half, you punch a bunch of different holes in it, you open that paper out, it's going to look closer to what the universe actually looks like. And the second reason is kind of the light speed limit. Now, matter and mass behaves very bizarre, in very bizarre ways. And when you look at the universe and how it expanded, there are stars that are much further away than they should be. So essentially, again, this is a lot of sciencey stuff, and I'm not an expert on that, but apparently the universe should be like roughly 14 billion light years across or something like that, but in reality it's more like 90 billion light years across. So the universe is much bigger than the speed of light would lend you to believe it should be. So in theory, the universe could be much bigger than even what we're currently seeing. And the aspects of the universe that we can't see or explain, that's called dark matter, or the regions of space where we can't calculate the mass, is unaccounted mass. That's essentially dark matter, because the universe behaves in bizarre ways. Now, again, in the star system universe, that's explained as something having negative mass is essentially having negative mass is kind of the evidence to quantanium's existence. And so scientists in the star citizen universe went to kind of look and explain why there is all this dark matter, or how come we can't calculate the missing mass. So these areas have high concentrations of quantanium that are emitting all of this negative energy. And so that's why we couldn't see a lot of the stuff in the universe before. So to kind of sum things up, quantanium, star citizens kind of explanation for negative energy. Quantum travel is Alcubierre travel. Jump points are wormholes naturally occurring when the universe was created. And yeah, for the most part, I don't think that we are gonna get this gate that opens up and you go through the wormhole and end up in Pyro. I think they will try to create something that's a little bit more organic looking, and you will travel through the gates that you're seeing here on screen behind me and end up in Pyro. I am very excited to see what kind of implementation they eventually land on. But what I like about Star Citizen is all the science that they try to put in the game to kind of make things make sense and make it more immersive. So even though it is kind of disappointing that we might not get that jump gate style, transition to Pyro, I do think it is cool knowing the lore and the science behind what they're trying to actually depict is going on here. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Are you big fans of Star Citizen's lore? Do you like the science of what's going on in the game? Are you bummed out that the jump gate might not be there when it finally lands? I want to know what you guys think. This is super exciting that, the Pyro jump point is finally in the game, as well as the others. I think players are currently in the process of trying to get out and search for those, although they are very far away. I'm excited to see what we're actually going to get in 4.0. But yeah, that's going to be it for me here today, you guys. I've been very under the weather lately. That's why I have been posting my last two videos didn't have any commentary in them, is because I just didn't even have a voice. So yeah, I'm feeling a little bit better now, so I'm gonna try to get back into the swing of uploading videos. It's kind of also the reason why my Starfield first impressions video is late, is because I wasn't feeling well to be able to record. But I have a lot of thoughts on that, so look forward to that video. But that's going to be it for me here today. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching this video. I will let you guys go out there. PTU, it's open to everybody. Check it out for yourselves. So yeah, like I always say at the end of these videos, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Salute.